Hey everyone, welcome back to Talking Tongue, the slightly newly formatted show where I'm going to be talking to people remotely because that's, well, I guess I always did that with Talking Tongue, but this time we are going to bring in a guest every single week, a new guest every single week, and talk about one thing instead of three things. Three things, too many things in one episode. I couldn't keep track of it, but now it's much easier. And who I have all the way from the internet and airwaves across the city, I have special guest Melanie Moshi, everyone. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me, Tongue. I'm excited to be here and talk about my favorite topic of the past 3 weeks, and that is Tiger King.
Yes. I am also very excited about this. And I actually wanted to record this episode last week, Mel, until I saw that little snippet that said, oh, there's a new episode dropping. And then I'm kind of spoiling later in the episode here, but it was basically like, okay, Mel, we're about to record. And then I saw a tweet that said Tiger King, the new episode was out now. And I'm like, oh shit, well, let's watch that and then record this episode. So I'm very fresh on Tiger King right now.
Yeah, me too. Now, was it worth the wait? I am feeling a little bit let down of that episode. I mean, if I knew it was just interviews, but
yeah, it's
are we going to wait? Are we going to wait?
Let's wait. Let's wait. Let's rewind a little bit.
Don't jump into it. Okay.
Now, how are you doing? How's life right now?
Life is good. There's lots of exciting things on Netflix. Thank the Lord. It's Easter weekend. You know, I'm trying to stay positive. I would say there's more ups and downs. Some days I'm feeling great. Some days I am really need that social interaction and not happy with the way life is right now. But overall, I think there's a lot of things to be positive about. And as long as you're focused on taking advantage of the situation and enjoying it, then it's not a bad time to be around.
Oh my God, you're the most insightful guest we've ever had on all the podcasts. Everyone else would be like, well, now we're talking about dicks. No, I'm just kidding. They're not like that. That's such a great outlook in life right now, Mel. Is there, besides Tiger King,
right,
what other things have you been doing with your spare time during this quarantine? Time to reflect, obviously, but also time to, maybe invest in some hobbies and watch new things or do new things. What have you been doing?
Okay, so if we loop back to Netflix, Ozarks, I think has been absolutely incredible. It's like top tier television right there. So I binged through that, the third season that just came out. For hobbies, I started playing more piano. And
oh, very cool. Right. I remember that.
Yeah. So before I would revert to those YouTube tutorials that showed you where to put your fingers and when. But now I'm trying to actually learn sheet music. So kind of diving into that. And I think that's been going good so far.
You know what? I think that's more practical in the long run,
yes,
honestly.
Much more practical.
Yeah, because I remember, what was it? I remember learning Let It Go from the Beatles, obviously, on the piano.
Let it be.
Let It Go. Let It Go, the Beatles song, Frozen. God damn it. And
you're on my track.
Thank you very much. Wow, I do not know the Beatles, apparently. But what I did was I just memorized the pattern.
Exactly.
And then if you were to tell me to play any of it now, I would not know how to do it at all.
Yeah, that's a problem I ran into too. Now, it's going really well for me so far. I have a technique that I would like to share. At least that works for me, is that I set the bar very low for myself. My goal is to practice piano and reading music for 2 minutes a day.
Wow.
But I have to do it every day. So 2 minutes is obviously not a long time, but it really drives that consistency. And a lot of the times you'll sit down, you'll do your 2 minutes, but then you'll continue for further along. But then even if you don't, you still get to feel good about yourself because you reached your goal. And that's going to help you come back to that habit each time because you're feeling good about it. So that's my little technique. And at least that's what's working for me during quarantine.
Wow. Again, so insightful. So wise. I love that. And what made you think 2 minutes instead of like 5 minutes or 10 minutes?
I think 2 minutes. So 1 minute just seemed a little bit too low, but 5 minutes seemed too high. 5 minutes, I don't know. Sometimes I'd be like, no, I don't want to do the whole 5 minutes. But 2 minutes, anyone can do 2 minutes of anything, I think. So I guess that's why I chose it.
Wow. I love that. And you've been doing puzzles, you said.
Yeah. So I didn't think I was a huge puzzle fan. Still not 100% sure if I'm a fan, but the good thing about it is I sit down at it and 2 hours will pass really quickly. So,
oh, great.
Yeah. So for me, that's exactly what I need right now. And for anyone who's trying to kill time and not, think too much while they're doing it. You just focus on that puzzle. You don't think about anything else. So yeah,
Aren't you doing
I thought
like
it was great.
intense puzzles, like no corner pieces,
Yeah,
like complicated
it
designs and
was. It was
whatever?
this mountain face, and I worked on it for so long that when I would go to bed at night, I would close my eyes, and all I would see is the mountain face. Like it could not get it. It was ingrained in my vision. So it was
Wow.
interesting. Yeah.
And you finished it. You finished the mountain
No,
face
I've not
puzzle?
finished it yet. But I finished another one in the meantime, a very easy one. It was like a map of the USA, Route 66. We sat down and finished it in like 2 hours. That was a much easier one. But this mountain one is still ongoing. It's a crazy one.
And do you like take a picture of it and then just destroy it right away? What's the deal with that?
No, I think my parents in law like to like glue them and hang them up. So we're gonna give it to them.
Oh,
Yeah.
but wait. Your parents, hang on. They like to glue your work and then put it on their wall.
Usually their own, but I think they would like this one too.
Okay, I was gonna say it's like, hey,
Or
someone else did this puzzle, and I'm very proud of it.
even if they don't hang it up, they'll keep it and they'll like bring it out and like show guests and stuff.
Oh, I love that's so cute.
Yeah.
That's so cute. Well, Mel, shall we get into the news of the week?
Yes. I'm very
Now,
excited.
this section of the show is actually so much better for me because before I was rounding out the news of the month, and every time I would come out like I saw a headline, I would throw it in my phone and just say it out later. And by the time it was the end of the month, the news at the beginning of the month
Yeah.
was like such old news. It's like nobody cares what the Oscar nominees are because the Oscars already happened.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow, this format is really falling apart. Even
Yeah.
now, I'm like looking at this list and I'm like, well, this doesn't seem very relevant. But here we go. I'm just gonna rattle off a couple things, Mel.
Okay.
If you please, and you want to chime in, feel free.
Okay.
I know the first couple things you might not be invested in because I don't think you play video games very often.
That's true.
But as you know, I've been a huge Animal Crossing fan. This last couple weeks,
Yep.
or forever, but like especially now that Animal Crossing is out, you have not played Animal Crossing.
I have not. I appreciate the genre. I play a bit of Stardew Valley, but
you
it's
would
like
love this
not
game.
really for me. So, but I
You also
appreciate
don't have
it.
a Switch.
I also don't have a Switch, so that's a limiting factor as well.
Let me just breeze through these three news stories because you don't like, not that you don't like video games, because you famously love Crash Bandicoot
Yes.
more, or at least what was it? Crash Bandicoot Racer. What's that game called?
Yeah, Crash Team Racing.
Crash Team Racing more than Mario Kart.
Yes.
And you made a poll at our work to prove me wrong, essentially.
Hmm.
And you were all on your own on that.
Yeah. Now I do know that Crash Team Racing is the off-brand version of Mario Kart, but
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd be the only one who likes it so much more. And yeah, everyone turned against me. Everyone supported Tongue. So
Well, let's
oh well.
throw it to the people of the internet. If you're listening to this show and you're like, Crash Team Racing is definitely better than Mario Kart,
Hmm.
then stop listening. We're not friends anymore. No, I'm just kidding. Message me, like, or send us a tweet, send us a Facebook message. I'm genuinely curious who else has this opinion. Go support Mel in this. She needs it.
Please do.
But there is an Easter event today. It's for Bunny Day. I'm just gonna skip ahead, and it's a wonderful thing. I can't wait. I'm gonna, after this phone call that we're having or this podcast, I'm gonna go play more Animal Crossing.
Okay.
There's a new controller for the PS5 that dropped.
Right.
Final Fantasy VII Remake happened, which is a video game that was over a decade in the making. I'm not sure if Final Fantasy means anything to you, Mel. I'm
Yeah,
actually
and I
curious
followed
about
this a little bit. Final Fantasy is very cool. I like the music in Final Fantasy. One of the songs that I spent so long on those piano tutorials was actually a Final Fantasy song. So I feel like
Really?
connected to it in that sense, and I definitely want to see it succeed. So I'm excited.
Oh, it is. It is. Well, I'm 8 hours in, and
Oh, really?
and it's incredible.
Wow.
It's
Okay. Okay, great.
They completely reinvented the game. It's the same story. In large strokes, it's the same story, but it's
Mhm.
like everything about it, from cinematics to how the game actually plays to like adding extra detail in the story. Like they're adding
Wow.
so much to it.
Amazing.
It's
That's
the
awesome.
craziest remake I've ever seen in my life, at least so far.
Do you like
It's
this theme where
mind-blowing.
it's going? I know, like, for movie, remakes have just been overdone to the point where it's gone too far. But now they're really taking it on in video games so far. But so far, everything has been positive. I've been loving everything they've remade. Do you think this is going to go too far, kind of like it does in the movies?
I guess we'll see. Because, like,
Yeah.
usually with video games, this is the first time I've ever seen a video game that's like, oh, we are remaking the game, like, ground up completely.
Oh,
Like,
oh, so
it's
everything
just
has
like
changed.
everything has changed, but
Oh, I
it's
didn't know
like
that.
the
Okay.
essence of Final Fantasy is still there, but like everything
Wow.
has changed.
Wow.
It's crazy. And then you're like, oh, well, I recognize this game as a completely different thing, but this game itself is like, was never like the PS1 game.
Yeah.
So usually when you hear like, oh, we're remaking the game or remastering the game, it's like, oh,
Mhm.
the game looks prettier. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
This is not that. It's like this game looks prettier, but it's everything's changed. It's
Wow.
very
That's very
interesting. Yeah.
cool.
Let's see. Let's move on. The SNL just filmed their first entirely at home episode yesterday. I guess 2 days ago, if you're listening to this episode on Monday. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Why not? COVID is just making new norms of what's possible for everything. So, yeah, I'm
You
curious
know,
to see if
I'm so
it's good or
impressed.
not.
Yeah, I'm so impressed about the production quality of remote anything. We'll talk about
Yeah.
that with the new Tiger King
Yeah.
episode. But it's just like I'm just impressed that it's working for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's cool. Disney reportedly is working on new Robin Hood remake.
Mm,
I don't know how I feel about
I don't
that, but like,
care.
I think like an animated Robin Hood remake, like the Fox version.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. That's what I want, definitely want to
Yeah,
see.
yeah, not the other failed Robin Hoods that we've
One of
seen.
several. Yeah.
Russell Crowe, or I think Taron Egerton did one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Friends reunion special is on hold indefinitely.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you care about that. I don't really.
No, I
I
don't
liked
really care about
Friends,
that.
but I don't need it. Like, I can't believe how much money they were making just to get them
Oh,
back in the same
insane.
room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This kind of ties. Actually, you know what? I'm going to save this to the end here. Space Force. Have you heard of Space Force?
Like the real Space Force?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, they're making a TV show that will
Oh,
star
yeah.
Steve
Yeah.
Carell,
Yeah. Yeah.
John Malkovich, Diana Silvers, Tawny Newsome, and Ben Schwartz.
Amazing.
Yes, and it is supposed to be like it's a workplace comedy. So I'm
Oh my
already picturing
God.
The
Amazing.
Office,
Yeah.
but Space Force, that concept.
So much potential there. I just hope it reaches it.
Let me read you a quick synopsis here.
Okay.
A decorated pilot with dreams of running the Air Force, four-star General Mark R. Naird,
Yep.
Steve Carell, is thrown for a loop when he finds himself tapped to lead the newly formed sixth branch of the U.S. Armed Forces, Space Force.
Okay.
Skeptical but dedicated, Mark uproots his family and moves to a remote base in Colorado where he and a colorful team of scientists and spacemen are tasked by the White House with getting American boots on the moon again in a hurry and achieving total space dominance.
I cannot wait. When is the air date for this?
It's actually soon, like May 29th
Wow,
on
really? Okay.
Netflix.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and apparently they tapped Lisa Kudrow to
Oh
play Steve Carell's wife in
my
this.
God. Keeps getting better.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I'm very curious about that.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
There's so much potential there in the plot and just having Steve Carell back in a workplace comedy. Oh, it sounds
I
perfect.
just
I'm very
I just
excited.
want that.
Sorry,
Yeah.
what is it airing on?
Netflix.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Perfect. And yeah, I'm just ready for another type of comedy like this. I just finished The Good
Yeah.
Place finally, like the new season of Good Place, the last season of Good Place, and it's
Yeah.
just like I just need another
Yeah,
show that just
definitely.
makes me happy.
Hmm.
Let's see. Disney is doing a bunch of at-home Olaf shorts. So they're basically getting like people to voice act, or Josh Gad specifically to record voice acting from his home and sending it to them. And they're just animating also from home too.
Oh,
I just think
really?
it's an interesting
It's a cool idea.
project to do.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is
it's just
pretty
like,
cool.
hey, record these lines and send it to us. Like you're not in a recording studio. You just send us your voice clips.
Yeah,
It's just
I like
interesting.
that.
Almost, this is the last story I have before we'll get into it, is Scorsese may go back to streaming after Paramount reportedly passes on pricey new DiCaprio movie. So there's a new movie
Mm,
from Scorsese called Killers of the Flower Moon, which is based
okay.
on a 2017 book, which was supposed to be starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro.
Okay. Nice.
And before Paramount was like, yeah, sure, we will fund your movie because you're Scorsese. But because of COVID, they're like, no, we don't got money anymore to do that, which I find very interesting
Yeah.
because it's a movie studio and it's Scorsese, and they're like, nah.
That seems
So
like more of an excuse than anything else.
yeah, I think that's an interesting choice. But honestly, I think the money is where Netflix is right now. So I think they'll do that.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're hungry for an Oscar too. So
for more Oscars.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get into Tiger King.
Tell all the hunters to lay down their guns.
Yes.
We're here. We're ready to talk about the global phenomenon, this documentary that had everybody talking. I wasn't even going to watch this.
Me neither.
To be honest with you.
Me neither. Yeah, I didn't. I thought it was like a little bit too much for me. I had to be convinced, but then I was definitely sucked in pretty quickly.
I think the thing that got me sucked in was the memes.
Yep.
And
yeah.
I don't really like being left out of not knowing what memes mean.
I'm right. I agree with you. I'm right there with you. I think especially the See-Do meme. I was like, okay, I need to understand this.
Yeah. So Mel, actually, you know what? I'm going to save these stories for a little bit later. Actually, you know what? I'll say it right now. There is a couple things in the works for Tiger King now.
Okay.
Did you hear about this? There's a sequel, like a documentary sequel that they're looking to make. And it's supposed to be like exploring Joe Exotic even more.
Really?
Which is what it sounds like. Yeah.
The same makers and everything?
I'm not sure if it's the same makers, but it's described as the show as a definitive sequel, but it must be noted that as of now, the only person from Netflix's Tiger King who's officially involved in the Tiger King himself.
Wow.
Which is, Which I'm like, is he getting paid for this? Like, probably not. He's in jail.
No.
Spoilers, but...
Yeah. But, he loves the fame. Like, fame means more to him than money anyway.
Yeah.
And I think there will be no end to this as long as he still has the ability to like create things somehow.
Yeah.
But actually, so I'm just hearing about this. I didn't know anything that was actually confirmed, more just hypotheticals. I don't know. I am a little bit hesitant on a sequel just because I feel like it was so kind of perfect and for the timing. The timing was perfect too. Everyone needed that something to just like bite into. I think I do see this maybe fizzling out quite a bit. But
I also see that, and I just want, like, if you're going to make because like Tiger King was 5 years in the making, right? It was only supposed to be like a year-long
That's
thing.
true, yeah.
It turned to 5, and now it's like, oh, let's make this other thing. It's like, well, do you have anything to show us?
Yeah, true.
Because if it's not, I can't, again, we're kind of spoiling this, but if we get to like the last episode that we just watched, it's like you don't have much more to show us. Definitely some cool insight, but not the same impact as the series that I just watched.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So I'll be hesitant about it, but I'll probably watch it.
Yeah, me too. And the other thing is they've been tapped to make a movie about this. Did you hear about this too?
Well, so I saw everyone was doing their castings online, and I thought that was such a fun and funny thing, to read through. If they want to make like a Hollywood blockbuster of it, my only request of that is that it would be more of a mockumentary. But I think it would be incredible. Why not go for it?
So right now, on April 8th, 2020, this is a Wikipedia thing that I'm reading, Deadline.com reported that Ryan Murphy is in talks to produce a movie or limited series for Netflix with Rob Lowe starring as Joe Exotic.
Okay, that's interesting.
I'm interested. Ryan Murphy, I'm kicking myself for not knowing, so I'm going to look it up right now. Ryan Murphy. He did, just a quick look, Glee and The Politician.
And Eat, Pray, Love.
American Horror Story. Yeah. Okay,
interesting.
So, interesting choice, I guess. But hey, Glee was very successful.
It was. Yeah.
Why not this thing, I guess?
Why not?
I think Rob Lowe is a good choice.
I mean, there's a lot of good choices, but yes, Rob Lowe is a good choice for sure.
Yeah. All right. Mel, shall we? What did you think about Tiger King?
Okay, well, it's hard to answer that quickly. I think it was just perfect for quarantine. It was extremely entertaining. I think that honestly, that's the best way to say it, is that it's extremely entertaining. I have some issues with sort of the integrity of the documentary. I think it was very biased.
Yes.
But the best part about it is that every episode there was new twists, new turns, new revealings, and something that everyone could hate about those people.
Yes.
So it was just binge worthy. It was super entertaining, and it was great timing with the quarantine.
Yeah, I think I can echo that sentiment here. Like, I think there's also an aspect of I came maybe a week or two after it came out. Like,
Yeah,
it took me like 2 weeks for be like, oh, okay, I'll watch Tiger King. And I think definitely the excitement around it hindered my experience a little bit. I still had a good time watching it. I think it was a nice little like throw it on and just enjoy where the twists and turns happen. But I
right.
think even when the people that I were talking to, they're like, "Oh, you're watching Tiger King? Just wait. It has twists and turns." And I'm like, "Oh, well, shit. You just ruined that for me, I guess."
So you
Because
found
that's
that took
all
away from it a little bit.
well, if all it is people are saying there's a bunch of twists and turns as the show progresses,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I guess true, and I guess I'm spoiling that for other people right now, but it's just one of those things that now that's in the back of my head, and all I'm just assuming every episode's going to have a twist and turn, I guess.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. But I mean, that not to say that it ruined the show for me. It was just less impactful when those twists happen, I suppose, in some ways.
Yeah.
Sometimes I was definitely like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that happened."
For me, I think it almost helped. I was like psyched up, kind of ready for the next twist and turn.
Mm,
I don't know. It got me excited. Now, but while we're
interesting.
talking
Yeah.
about that, what do you think of the choice to that they told that Joe was in jail right away? I thought that
Oh, I
was such
liked
like a
it.
weird way to do it. Why wouldn't they keep that as another twist for like the eighth episode?
I think it's one of those teaser things,
I guess, yeah.
at the end of the episode you're like, "Oh, wait a second. He's in jail. How did he get in
Yeah,
jail?
keeps me
Tune
hooked.
in to find out."
That's
You
true.
know?
That's true.
Yeah. Um, I find it interesting after I saw some news stories about Mike Tyson said, because he famously
Right.
had cats.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And now he's regretting it. He's like, he was foolish and wrong to have kept two tigers in his home in the 1990s.
Really? He
So
said that.
he has a lot of regrets about that. Although there is a Shaquille
Oh, poor
O'Neal.
Shaq needed in
Yeah,
the
so
documentary.
here's the weird thing is that he appears in the show and he says that he bought two tigers from Joe Exotic,
Hmm.
and then afterwards he's like, I never had any business dealings with him. It's like, well, there's footage of you doing
So
it.
you know what I read is that when he
Mm.
was saying he was buying two cats, it was like one of those things where you like buy a cat, you buy their sanctuary fees or whatever. You like sponsor a cat. I
Oh,
read that
I
that's what he
see.
was doing.
You know what? I choose to believe that then.
I know, right?
I'd rather choose to believe that.
Yeah.
All right. I
Okay,
don't even
wait.
know where to start with.
So
Oh,
I
go
have a
ahead.
question for you. Who do you think is the most evil person on that show?
Evil person.
Yeah, who's like the worst?
You know what? I think it's interesting because after you watch the 8th episode where you got to have like a real talk with these people, I guess, or you get to hear it from their
Yeah.
own mouths, it's
Hmm.
interesting that my perspective not necessarily changes. It's just, it makes me question things, I guess.
Yeah.
Because obviously the documentary tries, quote unquote, to be impartial, but there's
Yeah.
definitely bias going on
Yeah.
for sure. And they definitely try to string you along to believe certain things for the drama of it all, right?
Hmm.
So I think in many ways, I think all of them are bad guys.
Yeah. Oh, that's totally true. Yeah.
But if there was like a true bad guy, I mean, like they paint the villain in this story to be Jeff Lowe, right?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Or
But
Carol, obviously, but
or Carol, yeah. But Joe, after hearing more and more from the 8th episode again, like it just kind of cements that he is definitely not a hero in
Mhm.
this story,
Mhm.
but he is getting the fame he wanted all along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if we like look at this critically, I think they definitely wanted to paint Joe as like a lovable scoundrel kind of person, which they
Yeah.
did a really good job at. But I also read that they cut out a lot of him being racist because a lot of people like they'll draw the line at that. Joe can't be lovable and
Oh,
racist at the same time, so they kind of had to edit that out, is what I've
interesting.
heard. Um, But back to
but they
my
won't.
question about who's the worst. Like, to me, it's totally Doc Antle. I don't
Oh,
get how
yes.
are more people not talking about Doc Antle. He's the worst and so
It's
creepy
true.
and sketchy.
Yeah, it's actually true. I guess we can. Wow, there's just so much to unpack in this show. We won't go through the entire arc of this show, but yeah, Doc and we are going to obviously spoil this, well,
Right?
like we
Yeah.
already have
Spoiler
been,
alert.
like we already have been. But Doc Antle, yeah, he definitely seems like a sketch
Oh,
bag
yeah. And so,
using women.
and the two parts to it too, like this, his whole like grooming operation with the young women. But then like this whole mystery of like, where are all his baby tigers going? And the whole idea that he's just like mass producing these baby tigers and then they kind of just disappear. Ooh, it
Yeah,
like gives me the
the
creeps. Yeah, the
heebie-jeebies.
heebie-jeebies. Yes.
I don't love, like, it's very interesting and gross to hear that he just grooms women like that.
Yes. But I mean, Joe did the same thing too.
It's true. He did that with like people who needed help,
Yeah.
essentially, right?
Yeah. Very vulnerable people.
But I'm so fascinated by, this is a running theme in the show, is that people, as soon as they hold a cat or like a tiger in their hands,
Yeah.
their perspective and the whole thing changes.
Yeah.
And it's something I've never done in my life, is like hold like a real tiger or anything like that.
Same.
But it seems like people go a long way to be part of this just to hold a tiger.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And kind of how they were saying that these guys, they use their tigers to like lure the people in. Like kidnappers would use candy. These guys use their tigers. It
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're jumping to Jeff Lowe here, but Jeff Lowe, there's a part of the show
Exactly.
where him and his wife, who I guess are, open relationship,
Mhm.
would go to like casinos, lure women into like a hotel room, woo them with cats and then sleep with them.
Yeah. And like I
I'm like,
totally see that working
I
in
totally
Vegas.
see that
Yeah.
working too, which is super weird.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I have the big players here, and maybe we can kind of go through them,
Okay.
kind of rapid fire or whatever. But I guess Joe Exotic, he's the biggest one. He is the Tiger King.
Yeah.
He's pitched as the Tiger
Mhm.
King. How do you feel about him now overall after watching the show?
Yeah. I don't think he's a good person, that's for sure. Don't like him. I think he deserves to be in jail. And I'm kind of surprised that he lasted as long as he did. I don't know
Yeah.
how he wasn't, either jailed or ran into issues sooner, but it's a crazy story, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's at least very fascinating, and that's that is literally the driving force of the show, right?
Yeah.
Is that he is such a character, and you're like, I can't believe this guy is
Mhm.
real, that he's hard not to watch.
Yeah, and I'm sure he did have good qualities, and kind of there are still some people who really speak to that, saying he is such a nice guy. He'd give you the clothes off his back. What I found kind of sad to see throughout the documentary is that you do kind of see him being corrupted over time. And the whole political
Hmm.
thing was a big one. And you just see him going down the road of being corrupted and turning sort of getting his priorities kind of messed up there.
Yeah, you really feel that, like, as the series progresses, like he really stops caring about the
Mhm.
cats,
Yeah.
and it's definitely just a huge ego thing with
Yeah.
him,
Yeah, definitely.
and it's sad.
Yeah, it
It's
is
sad.
sad. Yeah.
Yeah. But his music videos are amazing.
Unreal.
I had to look it up afterwards, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this is a thing.
Yeah, I thought they were great.
Like, they're ridiculous. So I didn't know, because I couldn't tell, like, his music videos. I thought it was him. I truly thought it was him singing, because there are people out there like that just have like
Yeah.
a completely different voice, and then when they sing, everything changes about them. And I thought there
Yeah.
was like sections of the actual documentary where he's singing outdoors. A colleague that we work with said that it was auto-tune. I'm like, I don't know about that, but the husband, I guess, or one of his husbands, John Finley, said in the documentary really quickly that Joe wasn't singing.
Mhm.
So that's kind of a bummer,
It
because
is kind of
I
a
would
bummer.
I love the narrative that it's just like, oh, this guy who talks like this ends up just having this really deep,
Yeah,
like,
majestic
country voice.
country voice.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, as he continues his rivalry with Carol Baskin, who we can talk about later, like right after this, is I just did not love Carol Baskin. To me, always seemed kind of weird and sketchy, but his overt gun stuff that Joe was doing throughout the show, shooting a doll of Carol Baskin or threatening to kill people, did not love that.
No, and it didn't like resonate with me at all. I was just like, okay, like we got it, Joe. You don't like Carol, but that was way too far and just way too much. Yeah.
Exactly. I actually did because I was looking at this guy. I was like, oh, I recognize him from John Oliver because a couple years ago, I remember him getting made fun of. Yeah, I remember like that clip, and I was like, why does this guy look familiar? And it turns out to be the same guy, and they show the John Oliver clip. Yeah. And I couldn't believe it. And to hear the full story of this guy was very interesting.
Yeah, watching them show the John Oliver clip during the documentary was pretty funny. That was a very good addition.
Yeah. And then to hear that he ran for governor afterwards, it's like, wow, this guy.
Oh, I did like the way he used like condoms as advertising. I thought that was pretty clever.
God, that's hilarious. Carol Baskin. Now, it's hard to say her name without using the B word, so I won't. I feel bad for her in the sense that I'm sure everybody says that now and they can't help themselves. That Carol Baskin would be. But how do you feel about Carol Baskin?
I don't know. I kind of can't help but feel a little bit bad for her right now. Just because I'm sure it sucks to have the whole world hate you overnight. I don't think her sanctuary is a great place for cats, and there's definitely a little bit of sketchiness going on there. Potentially she does come off as a bit of a little bit psychotic and a little bit crazy. I don't know. Did she kill her husband? I don't know. It's not for me to say. So I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about Carol Baskin is long story short.
I love the memes that have been going out of people posting like, did Carol Baskin kill her husband, like on their doors? And then they'll say like they put the package yes or no. So many people are putting their packages on their husband.
Yeah, they're good.
Good memes. But yeah, I do feel bad for her, but she does seem like she's always up to something, and I don't like it.
Yeah, totally.
But maybe that's just how the show portrays her.
You get that feeling like the first time you see her. You're kind of like, okay, what's wrong with this woman? There's something a bit off here. So yeah.
Yeah. But I do agree with the sense that she definitely kind of takes advantage of her staff, even though she comes off as a very nice person.
Yeah, that was crazy. That's not great.
Yeah. Like basically she says, okay, you can, that's what I'm saying about like people just willing to bend over backwards and sacrifice like, years of their lives just to be around tigers.
Yeah.
Because for volunteers is like, okay, at year 1, you have this, I don't know, blue shirt. And year 2, you have a green shirt. And then it's on year 5 where you have a blue shirt.
Yeah.
And the blue shirt people get to talk to Carol. It's like, what?
Oh my God. Yeah. And I was thinking that these people are like one evening a week type of people. But no, they're working full time there for free.
It doesn't make any sense to me. It's baffling. But yes, I don't. I've heard many times, and we know this from the 8th episode too, that she wasn't even in it. But I've read now that Carol Baskin basically wants nothing to do with any more of this.
Yeah,
essentially.
No surprises there.
No, yeah, exactly. Although that follow-up limited series that I was talking about, apparently her names might be attached to that. So I wonder if she used to go back, she might want to try to clear her name.
She probably does want to do that. So I guess there's potential for that.
Yeah. Jeff Lowe, we kind of touched on him a little bit, but he is definitely another player. How do you feel about this guy?
Yeah, probably a scumbag. I heard he was like trying to keep his zoo open for as long as possible during social distancing. Does not seem like a great guy at all. I mean, yeah, you just have to take one look at him. And I feel like that kind of sums it up.
He's just something about him.
Something about him. Yeah.
He just seems so like, I don't know. Although his Joe impression is really funny. In fact, everybody, whenever anybody quotes Joe in the show, they always pop into their own Joe Exotic impression, which I find very funny.
Oh, I think what really ruined it for Jeff, was when his wife was pregnant and he made some comment about her having to get back to the gym as soon as possible after the baby was born. It was like just so scummy.
And his wife has like no problem with it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Which is like, I guess like if she, I don't know, it's just one of those weird things that
Mhm.
I'm glad they found each other in a weird backwards way, but like you can do better than that.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
way
he's
better.
treating you like garbage. He's sleeping with other women, but I guess she's into it too. So I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. And it just seems like every time like Jeff is involved with anything, it seems like people, I don't know, there's just like the feds were involved. There's
Yep.
like sketchy dealings in the background, all this stuff. His like Alan friend who almost was hired to kill
Oh
Carol. Like
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
his connections are very interesting and sketchy. But anyways,
I
I'm
don't know.
curious to see where it goes because he kind of said he would consider maybe doing more Tiger King stuff. So
Oh, I'm sure he will for the publicity. But I feel like he's at
yeah.
risk, like in the legal sense. I don't know.
Oh right. Well, he's gone to jail before, right? That's kind of the
Oh, right. Yeah, that's true.
yeah. Yeah. Anyways, that's kind of like I'm not sure. Do you have anything else to add to Tiger King here?
No, I think that covered a lot. Saf was pretty cool. Some good interviews
Hmm.
there. I like her memes
Yeah.
too, or his memes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some good characters. You know who else I really liked, who doesn't get a lot of attention?
Mm.
The guy with the two limbs.
Oh yes. I forget his
I know,
name,
me too.
but
And that's
I
like the
forget
bad
his name.
part.
But I
I just liked
maybe
it
this is a
whenever he
good
was
time
on
to
screen.
move on to the after special, which I'm very happy we watched before this because I think it
Yeah.
dives into some insight to those lesser characters, I guess, or
Mhm.
not lesser. I shouldn't say that, but like the people
Yeah,
who are
yeah,
in the
yeah.
background, coloring the rest of the show. So Netflix did an after special, which is called "The Tiger King and I." I'm pretty sure it's called,
Yes.
and Joel McHale was hosting it, which I was like, this is kind of
He's
random, but I
pretty
love Joel
random.
McHale. I love Joel McHale, so it's just, but it's super random. How did you feel about this episode?
I don't know. So, as I said, as soon as we kicked off this episode, I mean, it was fresh. I was expecting a little bit more, but it was kind of like
Hmm.
that's what Tiger King sets up for you. You expect so much action out of every episode, where this
Yeah,
was, just interviews. But it was good to get that follow up. And it was kind of nice. Those characters that you care about didn't get a lot of screen time. To see them doing well is really nice to see. And then
yeah,
just to get sort of the different opinions, it was pretty insightful.
yeah. That's how I feel about it. It's like people are. I mean, I talked to a few people now, and they're like, oh, "Should I watch this?" I'm like, "Uh, yeah." I
Yeah.
mean, if you like Tiger King, there's no reason why you shouldn't watch it. It's not like the other episodes, but I think to hear like the real perspective from these people, from their point
Mhm.
of view, that is like basically unfiltered in a way, that it's an interesting thing to
It
hear.
is, yeah. There's some good one-liners too.
Yeah, definitely. I want to hear about what you thought about Joel McHale's interviewing skills, I guess. Like, I find him a very funny person,
Yeah,
but I'm curious what you thought in the context of Tiger King.
I don't know. He did an okay job. I'm not a huge, huge fan of him. I thought some of
Mm,
his jokes were a bit flat. But I think he asked the right questions and got some good answers from it. And I think he wasn't too afraid to sort of get right into it. So that was good. Um,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess why not him for the job? It was a little bit random, but I definitely like
Yeah.
some of the questions he was asking.
I think, yeah, me too. I like the questions, and I had in the back of my mind, they must have vetted some of these questions so that
Oh,
these
for sure.
people
Yeah.
would have, like, an answer pre kind of meditated
Yeah.
with. But I do. I agree with the like some jokes fell flat kind of thing, but at the
Mhm.
same time, I do like his like cocky interview
Yeah.
style where
Yeah. Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
like, okay, this is getting a little serious, so let's kind of like sidestep this because you don't want to. I
Hmm.
guess you don't want to like piss someone off on the other end completely, kind
Yeah,
of thing.
that's true.
So I did like it overall, but it was different
Yeah.
than the rest of the show. Is there any particular interview that stood out to you at all?
Um, I'm trying to think here. Nothing that surprised me too much. I think maybe I had just been like deep diving on Reddit enough that I was like
Yeah.
kind of ready for everything. Um, I don't know. What about you? What stood out the most for you?
I think like hearing Jeff and Lauren's perspective is very interesting because
Yeah,
I feel as though they feel as though they are the Tiger King and Queen, like the way they're sitting, the way they talk, and
yeah,
the way
that's
they
true.
just talk about this whole thing. They're like, oh, we are right, we are always in the right, and basically the show treated us unfairly, but we're trying to set the record straight. And I think a lot of them in these interviews were like, I want to set the record straight. I'm not a meth head. I
Oh
want to
yeah,
set the
yeah.
record straight. Like
I'm
that
glad
kind of
they could
stuff,
do that.
which I'm also glad they could do that too, because I find it's interesting, especially because this was filmed at home remotely during the pandemic. So it's
Mhm.
very recent,
Yeah.
obviously, right? But to hear their experience to like go to a Walmart and also being stopped by people to be like, hey, I know Tiger King. Very fascinating to
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
everything took place, at zoos and all this stuff, like smaller areas for sure.
Hmm.
But now that these people are famous, they're getting stopped everywhere. I think it's just a cool perspective to hear how they're actually navigating the real world now.
Yeah, that's true. And when they were saying with Joe's ex-husband, his daughter now is 4 years old. But when the show was ending, for us, like when we were watching it, it seemed like that was just happened so recently. So I
Mm-hmm.
think for a lot of them, more time has passed than what we realize.
Yeah,
So it's kind of good to
exactly.
like understand that.
Yeah. Notable people missing is Carol Baskin and Doc Antle.
Yeah. I was disappointed
And
that no one was talking about Doc Antle because that's like
yeah,
what I want to hear about.
or Dylan Passage, he wasn't there either.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh, it kind of glossed. We didn't actually talk about this, but I did find that the Travis turn in the series was
Mhm.
probably the most shocking thing in the whole
Oh my
series,
God, yeah, I was shocked. Yeah.
with Travis shooting himself in the head and killing himself. It's just
Hmm.
like a big like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened in front of this other guy, and
Yeah.
truly feels like it could scar a person.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And
Um,
to hear his perspective of not being able to get help for a year and a half
yeah.
is just crazy to me.
Yeah, that is crazy. And I'm glad he realizes, the benefits of it and he's like looking to get help. I thought his
Hmm.
interview was really good.
Yeah.
And just eye opening. And I'm glad like that Joel McHale asked directly about that and what he thought about that because that was pretty important to talk about, I
Hmm.
think, and hear more about.
Yeah. I also love how Joel McHale basically asked everybody who they would want to like a real celebrity to play them as,
Yeah,
which I
yeah.
thought the answers were really good. We have Matthew McConaughey as pitched as one of them, Ken Jeong. We have
I
Billy
was
Bob
I could not
Thornton.
stop laughing about that. Such a good pick.
I
Such a
just
good pick. Okay, but I
That's
thought it
so
was
good.
so so heartbreaking when the guy with no legs, and we keep forgetting his name,
Oh, I
when
forget his
he was
name.
like, "Oh, I want Matthew McConaughey to play me," and Joel McHale was like, "Oh, well, a lot of people are saying he should play Joe." I was like, "Oh, come on, that's so mean."
Yeah, that's hilarious. But yes, it is mean. I did find it shocking to hear about John Finlay, one of Joe's husband, to have teeth. It was just weird to see
Right?
him
Yeah, I didn't
have teeth
recognize
in
him at
general.
first. Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, wow, who is this guy with a big beard and stuff like that? And to hear him talk about the tattoo as well,
yeah.
I thought was interesting.
It's good he got to address that too, because I know that was a lot of memes were made about that.
Hmm.
A bit harsh.
What did you think about? They must have, and I'm assuming Apple must have had their feet in this a little bit because everybody has AirPods,
Yeah, that was could have been a bit more subtle, I think.
right? Like,
Yeah.
is it like I'm like, wait, everybody has AirPods? No
It
way,
was so
unless
it was so dumb. And they were all kind of wearing them kind of weird to like make it as
well,
obvious as possible they were AirPods. I don't know. That took it away from me. If Apple had done it so much more subtle that like, only Joel was wearing them or something, I feel like it would have been better.
yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I'm like, well, maybe everyone, because a lot of people have AirPods. I have AirPods for
Yeah.
God's sake,
Yeah.
but like, it was just so weird to see that everybody had them. I'm like, they must have sent it to just for sound quality reasons, I'm assuming.
I guess. But
Uh,
then, so the one guy in Norway, he didn't have them, but he had to wear it to make it look like it was an AirPod or something. I
So
don't know.
I
So weird.
thought he was wearing AirPods, but it looked like he was wearing
He
EarPods, like
was
the
wearing
basic
AirPods.
Apple one,
Yeah.
and he was wearing it
Upside
upside
down.
down. And I'm like, what the fuck is that about?
So
Not
weird.
necessary. Not necessary. Overall, just to wrap this up here, I think this show is worth watching. Is it something that I want to see a sequel from? Honestly, probably not, but I would be curious to see maybe the movie adaptation or whatever they plan on doing.
Yeah.
And if the documentary series, the limited one that they're planning, is actually interesting, I would give it a look.
Hmm.
but I'm not exactly like gunning for more Tiger King.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat. Do you have any more details about this movie?
Not really. I think it's just okay. Let's see. Investigation Discovery is the, I guess, studio
Mm.
that's doing it, and they greenlit it, and it's called Investigating the Strange World of Joe Exotic.
Okay.
Oh, but they're also saying that they're gonna look into more of Carol Baskin and Doc Antle and Jeff Lowe, but it's just how are you gonna look into more Carol if she doesn't want to do the show?
Wait, so this movie is still like investigating? I thought it was just like a remake, like a comedy or something. That's kind of what I
Oh, I'm
want.
sorry.
But...
There's two things, right? There's the documentary series, like the
Oh.
sequel to the documentary series. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
But
okay,
the
okay.
movie, I actually, there's no details with it except that Rob Lowe might be
Right.
in it,
Okay.
which again, I think is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know how you have to make it like a comedy, right? Like a satirical comedy.
Yeah, I don't see anything else working. But then even when I think about that, I'm like, how do you make it funnier or crazier than the original? It's like barely possible.
Yeah. Like,
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't know. Like, do you have to make Joe likable, right?
Yeah,
But he, in a lot of ways, is not
not.
likable
Oh,
at all. So, God, I don't like him.
no. Ugh,
I hope people don't view him as a hero. He is not. And
no.
how do you? I just wonder if he gets appealed. You know, if he gets let out of prison early. He's supposed to be in there for 22 years.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of crazy people in the States who genuinely see him as a hero. I don't know. We'll see how it
I
goes.
I think the thing that like really drove it home for me is there's actually a story in the documentary, not the sorry, the story in the last episode with Rick. He's the filmmaker.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He talks about the story about a horse being shot, and I
Oh,
thought that was a very
yeah.
powerful
Yeah,
story.
that
When I was like,
was.
"Oh my God, are you kidding me?" Uh, just spoilers, I guess, but we've been spoiling this whole episode. Is basically he brings a story about how a woman is crying and how he tells Rick, the filmmaker, to film himself kind of like consoling this woman about this horse and basically how she wants this horse to kind of be like free or like, you know, have a better life essentially. And then Joe's like, oh, I'll take care of it. And then he quickly pulls out a gun away from this woman and shoots this horse. And it's like, well, that's dark.
For tiger meat as well.
Yeah, for tiger meat. So,
Oh.
ugh. Did this make you want to do dumpster diving at a Walmart?
Oh my God, the pizza scene. Oh, so
Yeah.
gross.
Like all these people were eating like expired meat,
Oh, gross.
but they had first dibs on the expired meat. And then it's just like, oh my God,
Yeah,
these people's lives were just insane.
insane. Yep.
I wanted to hear a little bit more about that one person who left Doc Antle too.
Yeah, me too. I was definitely, kind of disappointed when we didn't see her again.
Mhm.
I feel like if anything, I want a sequel. I want a spin-off just for Doc Antle. There's a lot to unpack there. Those mansions
Yeah,
they live in are insane.
he's a weird. I would honestly watch a spinoff of any of them, but Joe. You know, like I would see
Right?
more Carol Baskin kind of because
Yeah.
her husband, something about her husband really pushes me in the wrong way. I don't know what it is. It's kind of like
Really. So I didn't mind
it's not
him
that he's.
actually.
I'm sorry, say
I
again.
didn't mind him actually. I thought he was normal, and I kind of liked the way like he was like well spoken.
Yeah, it's that he's just kind of like maybe he's just a good husband is what it
Yeah,
ends up
I guess
being, but
so.
it's just like how do you trust this woman when
Yeah.
whatever. But I think the thing that like really weirded me out, maybe it's just a weird thing, is that in their wedding photos
No.
he basically is on his hands and knees with a leash around his
Yeah.
neck.
See, that made me like lose a lot of respect for
And I'm like, this
him.
seemed like a little bit of a beta, but that's maybe
Okay.
too judgy. All right, well, that's our episode on Tiger King and Talking Tongue. Mel, thank you so much for joining me over the airwaves.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's a great way to spend an afternoon.
Yeah, and you know, I feel like we could talk about this forever because there's so much to unpack. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we didn't discuss,
I think
but
so.
hey, you can just watch the show. You can just watch the show. You might as well. It's on Netflix. Everybody has Netflix. It's 7 episodes. It's very short.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mel, before we close off, what are you looking forward to that has nothing to do with COVID?
Ultimate Frisbee season. But if it happens, we'll see. That definitely has nothing to do with COVID. Although I think
Yeah,
it is
that going to happen?
COVID getting better, but that's what I'm excited for.
Yes, I hope we can run outside and toss a frisbee sometime soon.
Yeah.
I also play Ultimate, but I'm genuinely worried, and I'm pretty sure it won't happen this season, which is very sad. Is there any TV shows or movies you're looking forward to? Anything like that?
This Space Force one.
Yeah. Oh my God. Listen, I just heard about this today. I'm very excited for the Space Force show.
Yeah, me too.
We'll do a follow up on that. All right, Mel. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for listening. You can listen to the rest of the shows in the Pod Cavern, like Rank Top 5, list of stuff that don't matter. We have the Improv Punch. We might be doing some more of that. More Talking Tongue every Monday now. It used to be monthly, but now it's every Monday. New guests, new shows and movies to watch. I cannot wait. We have... What else we have? We have Heroes Don't Do Paperwork. I have a new... There's so much podcasting going on, Mel. It's ridiculous.
Sounds great.
I have so much free time. We have a new podcast that's about to launch, hopefully within the next week or two. It's called Disney Dummies. And that's with my friend Samantha Leggett and my fiancée, Laura Gordon, where we're going to watch all of the Disney animated films from the beginning chronologically and discuss them. Yes. So I have a lot of free time now, Mel. I don't know if you knew this.
How many movies is that? 30 movies plus?
More probably. Yeah. And once we run out, we'll probably do like the other, like whatever. That's just, there's so much Disney movies to watch.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I don't know what I'm signing up for. Okay, well, everyone, take care, be safe, and we'll see you next time on Talking Tongue. See you later, cool cats and kittens.
Cool cats and kittens. Bye.